If you are a tenant residing in a rented house and your landlord is simply troubling you by unjustified rental hikes, increasing the rent frequently or beyond the legal limits, refusal of repairs, ignoring the complaints about water, electricity, leakage, or other essential repairs, or he's interfering in your privacy, right? Entering the rented property without proper notice or consent. There are many such kind of thing take place from your landlord as such that he is violating the law. He is troubling you in all the ways. Then what are the rights that you have as a tenant to safeguard yourself? So all these things I'm going to explain in this particular video. Kindly watch the video till the end. I'm sure you will get a lots of insights. First, we will discuss about how you can protect yourself. We'll discuss about the tenant rights. There are some myths as a tenant. Most of the time you assume yourself by social media, by some people who do not know law. We'll discuss about it and what are your action plans, what are the final takeaways. So all these things we are going to discuss in this particular video. Now let us discuss about how you can protect yourself. First and foremost thing is you have to make an agreement with your landlord for your rented house. Of course, oral agreement is also valid, but you cannot prove before the court. As per law, definitely oral agreement is also valid, but it is not practical. You cannot prove before the court. So that is why a written agreement is essentially required with all the proper terms and conditions with your landlord. What are the basic terms that you mention in the agreement? Right? First and foremost thing is rental amount. See, in the rental agreement, you should be having your address, name, all these are basic informations that you have to provide. The address of the tenanted house, name of the landlord, address of the landlord, all these things should be mentioned. I'm only talking about the terms and conditions that you undergone with your landlord. I'm only focusing on that particular point, right? So rental amount and then due date. What is the total rent that you have to pay monthly, right? If it is a lease amount, you have to mention the lease amount. Okay, the due date. If it is rental amount, if it is a monthly rent you have to pay, in that case you have to mention the due date as well. What are the deposit amount, security deposit that you have paid to the landlord, right? That has to be mentioned with date and with the mode of transaction, which means if you have given a check, please mention the check ID. If you have mentioned through online payment, please provide the details as well, right? And the duration and notice period also you have to mention. Generally, by default, it will be 11 months. But if you want to get into agreement with more number of days, then definitely you can mention that as well. And what is the notice period? When you are vacating the house, what should be the notice period that you have to give it to the landlord, and within that period, the landlord should arrange the deposit amount of yours, right? So all these details should be mentioned in the rental agreement itself. So the last one is very important, list of repairs. If you just acquired the rented house, within a month you have seen a lot of repairs, that too without any your fault, then who should take care of that repair? Either you should take or you have to ask your landlord, right? Since there is no wrong from your side, there is no mistake from your side, you should not be paying for the repairs. A landlord has to take care of it. So all these details should be written properly in the agreement upfront itself, so that later on dispute between you and then your landlord might be reduced. The clause might be like this: within 2 or 3 months, if at all if you are having any repairs as to water supply, electricity, or doors, a wooden work, wardrobe, all these things within 3 or 4 months, if at all if you get any kind of repairs, then landlord has to take care of it. After so and so months, if there are any repairs, then tenant has to take care of it. These kind of clauses you have to put properly in the agreement, and you have to get it signed by the landlord. This is how you will be executing the rental agreement, so that you can avoid the future disputes between you and then your landlord. Now let's discuss about 5 powerful rights that a tenant is having against his landlord. First and most fundamental thing is a safe home. Your landlord is not just collecting the rent, they have the duty to provide the livable home. This means they are responsible for a major repairs. If you're having any structural issues, a significant plumbing problem, or a faulty wiring, you have the right to live in a property that is safe and has the basic amenities like water and electricity, right? You have all these rights you can demand at any point in time from your landlord. But keep it in mind, if it is any fault from your side, you have done something, because of that the electricity is not passing through. You have done something, so that is why the plumbing problem got arised. So in that particular cases, certainly you will not be having any rights, you cannot demand. It's your responsibility to make it correct. The second most important right that you have is privacy. Since your landlord is the property owner, it doesn't mean that he can interfere your privacy. If he wants to get inside to your house for checking anything and for any of the purpose, he has to give minimum 24 hours of notice, and he has to take your consent. Then only he has to enter into the house and then check whatever he wants to do, investigate whatever he wants to. That means your rented house is your own private space. The landlord cannot just walk in whenever he wishes to, right? They must provide you a reasonable notice. As I said, typically it is 24 hours. He can give that notice and then he can get into the premises. However, there is a clause to it. If there are any emergencies, like there is any fire problem, if in case of any major leakage, he has all the rights without any notice also, he can get into your premises and then take the proper action. And the third most important right that you have is fair eviction, or the right against the unfair eviction. This is a big one. A landlord cannot just throw you out on the street without any court order, right? Eviction is a legal process that must be done through the court. A landlord cannot only seek eviction on the specific ground defined in the law. The common grounds that he is having is consistent failure to pay the rents. If you are not paying the proper rent on time, he will get the right of eviction. Subletting the property to someone. He has given the house to you for the rent. You are giving that particular house to someone else for the rent. So this is not allowed. And if you are doing it, then obviously the landlord will get the right to evict you. If landlord is having a genuine reason for him to use his property for himself, then he can evict you from the house. So these are not limited as such. There might be some other reasons also. However, these are the major points that he gets the rights for the eviction. However, without any court order, he do not have any right to vacate you from your premises. This is one of the important right that you have. Please be mindful. The next important right that you have is essential services, right? Even if you are having any dispute with your landlord or the tenant or any other issues, the landlord cannot legally cut off your essential services like water, electricity or sanitation. This is illegal and you can take a legal action against. Though you have the dispute with your landowner, he cannot take any action against you as to the essential services. Next one is the right to your security deposit. While you are acquiring the property, you might have given some advance amount or deposit amount to him, right? So that is your amount. You have all the rights to receive it back. And the landlord is duty bound to give the whole amount without any cutting. However, if there are any expenses that got in because of your residence in that particular house, then he'll get the rights to deduct the reasonable amount from your deposit amount. These are the 5 basic rights that a tenant is having against the landlord, and you have to be wise enough to use them. Since you are having all these rights, it doesn't mean that you can exploit your landlord. Of course, he is also having his own rights towards his property. So please be mindful. Though you are having all these rights, please use it wisely. There are some myths as to the tenant and then landlord relationship, right? If the property is sold, a tenant have to leave if the property is sold by the landlord, right? The fact is, even though the property has been sold, you have all the rights to stay there. Until unless the landlord gets the eviction order from the court, you no need to leave the house. If your terms are good, you can go ahead and then become the tenant of your new owner also. Basically, the right of the tenancy will be transferred to the next owner or next landlord. But it is false that as soon as your landlord sells the property, you have to leave the house. There is no such law as such, okay? Your landlord can keep your deposit for repairing, right? The fact is, the basic repainting cost should be taken by the landlord himself. If at all, because of your residence, for the long duration, the paint is completely gone and 2 to 3 coats of painting has to be done, then only the landlord can deduct the amount from the deposit or he can charge for the painting. The third myth that you have is, since you are a tenant, you don't have any rights towards the property and only the landlord is having all the rights and you do not have anything to say in any matter as to the property. It is not completely true. Of course, since you are a tenant of that particular property, definitely you are also having your own rights towards the property. Now let's discuss about your action plan to protect yourself from your landlord, right? First and foremost thing that you need to do is keep the documents. That means since from the beginning, as soon as you enter into an agreement, keep an agreement with you. As soon as you pay the rent, get the receipt from the landowner and then keep it with you. And keep all the messages that you communicated with your landlord. These are really become the evidences if in case of any legal disputes. And second one is, as soon as you acquire the property, take the photographs inside and then outside of the house. Why you have to take it is, at the time of leaving the house, the landlord should not simply say that the damage or repair is because of your tenure. There won't be any dispute as such between you and then your landlord. If at all if he is raising any concern, you can show your photographs so that you can eliminate the conflict with your landlord. The third most important thing is, in case of any communication, you always make it in the written format, either through email or through WhatsApp. So all these communications are very important, and then if at all if you are genuine, these become very important evidences during the court case. These are the few points that you need to take care when you are residing in the rented house, so that all these things will definitely protect you if in case of any problem with your landlord. Though you have all these rights, you are also having your own responsibility towards your property. Law is always take a stance of balanced responsibility from the landlord and also from the tenant. Landlord is also having the rights and his own liabilities, and as a tenant you are also having your own rights and also the liabilities. Law is balanced in both the fold. After this video, I will upload another video related to the tenant and the landlord relationship, where I will explain the rights of the landlord. Kindly watch that video also. I will keep that link in the description. Thanks for watching this video. Have a good day.